Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Building Empires Network. You got myself, Andrea Cruz, and Christina Franco. And today we have a very, very special guest that's actually trending right now in the market, Mr. Boris Sanchez, the GOAT of multifamily.
Thank you. The GOAT. I like that.
Yeah, I know. She's like a GOAT.
I was like, what's a GOAT? Tell him, Andrea, what's the GOAT?
Oh,
So
yeah.
people don't know what the GOAT is because I sent a little
She
goat.
sent a message back saying, like a goat? And I was like, no, it's greatest of all time, but she didn't know that. So.
I didn't know it was the greatest. I'm not good at abbreviations, guys. When I had to learn the BRRR, the KRRR, the this RRR, I'm like, yeah, now it's now it's like, oh shit, I think I put the KRRR shit. I don't know. Anyway, it's the KSC. I'm not, oh no. But anyway, guys, we're going to really talk with Boris about some of the things. And I want you to understand that a lot of people that come in and, they volunteer their time to share a lot of information. This is a lot of valuable information. And I want you to take this information, take notes, do whatever you can, because we go out and we really source the people and ask them to come on here. And when they say they're going to come on, we really have to value and appreciate their time. So we want you to go ahead, listen to what Boris has to say. And he's going to introduce himself right now. If y'all have questions, go ahead and send them and we'll answer them after. And let us know that you're there. So do like the page because we're going to start sending out gifts to people that do like and not just watch. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you so much, Christina and Andrea. It's a pleasure to be here. I've considered y'all like pretty much close friends. So,
thank you.
So, it's great. But yeah, so my name is Boris Sanchez. I own a company called Sandmore Investments. I'm 100% owner of that company. And under that, I own over 500 units of multifamily and another 235 units of self-storage. I've always kind of been about buying and selling property, not just hanging on to it. So I've just flipped probably and I've owned over 1,200 units thus far. And that's all myself, no crowdfunding, no syndication, nothing like that. And so, yeah, I've had an amazing career, 13 years so far. Right now, my newfound passion is to add value and to kind of pass on the knowledge that I've learned through years and years of not even having a mentor.
That is nice.
And so, yeah, I've obviously had some very expensive lessons and some very big mess ups that I've experienced. But I want to pass on that knowledge of all those things that I learned. And so, yeah, please feel free to ask me any questions, anything you want to know. I don't know if you take questions from the audience, but yeah, please do.
Well, yeah. Let us know. How did you get started, Boris?
So I got started in 2010, and I was a mortgage broker for my family's company. Actually, I didn't even like real estate at that point. I really beat myself up because I got started pretty late into real estate. Before then, I used to be like a serial entrepreneur. I had my first business at 7 years old. It was a little food delivery business.
Oh, wow.
And I had a car dealership. I had an online store. Even at one point, I had my own line of pool cues, like billiards, pool cues and sticks brought in from the Philippines. It was pretty cool. And then in 2008, I decided to sell my car dealership then. I had graduated from college. And so I decided to go to London to get my master's degree. And that ended up being one of the toughest things, but one of the things that I'm most proud of in my life. I ended up being super broke. I didn't have anybody to take care of me. Like my parents don't really have a lot of money. And so I had to kind of make it happen. I had sold my business, my car dealership, but then I actually came back and I had about $50,000 and I thought $50,000 is just one guy, living in the city. I think I can make it happen. Well, London is the most expensive city in the world. And it lasted me about 3 months. And then after that, I had to make something happen. So I went to bus tables, I went to wash dishes, even was a bartender. And I met some pretty cool people that way. It taught me a lot about perseverance. And so it kind of translated that into real estate. I was literally the brokest student in my MBA course. Like I had the same kind of jeans. Everybody else had nice little, Air Mac laptops and stuff like that. I had the big ass, 10-pound like laptop. It looked almost like a desktop. You know what I mean?
Yeah, carry the desktop.
Yeah, I got like exactly carry the CPU and the monitor. It was kind of like that. But I made it happen, and I came back and I had that drive. It's like, man, if I can make it over there, I can make it anywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I started as a mortgage broker, and I did not really like the residential field. I kind of just enjoyed doing commercial and actually dealing with folks that own commercial, finding out about how it all works. Obviously, the fact that commercial properties are valued based on their income and everything like that made a big difference to me, and it made an impact. So I actually bought my first commercial property in 2013. And it was 140 unit. It was $140,000 eightplex that I funded with hard money. I brought $10,000 to closing. Initially, I was literally just trying to make $1,000. I was trying to make $1,000 in cash flow because back then I was in love with the whole mailbox money. I was in love with just like sitting back, not doing anything, and just getting money paid directly. I came to find out later that it's extremely hard to do that in real estate. But anyway, I was looking to make $1,000, and then instead of that, I made way more. 12 months after acquisition of that little eightplex, I actually sold it and made $250,000, which it was more money than I ever even seen in my entire life. And then it kind of changed my mindset into thinking, it's all about those big paydays that change your life. Like I was able to pay off my dad's car and his insurance. He was struggling. And so like take a lot of those stresses off of him. That's really what that did. And so I wanted to find out exactly what I did right, what I did wrong. And so I started kind of finding out more about, forced appreciation and what that meant of commercial properties. It's, again, like I said, it's when you increase the value of a property because you bring in more income. And so, I've been kind of just experimenting that for the last 10 years or so in the commercial field. And I'm excited. We've experienced a lot of growth, and here we are.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And, over this weekend, he took us to go walk some of his units. And I just have to say, I mean, when he adds value, he adds value. Like, he adds like vending machines, cabanas, and I mean, all kinds of stuff. And I was like, wow, it's not, you see regular apartments, and whenever you see his apartments, you can tell like, okay, those are his apartments because he has that, the wood fence.
The signature look.
Yeah, the signature look. There you go.
Yeah. And even in those areas that it's not even like those great areas, but he makes those people. And one of the things that I learned from Boris this weekend was like, it's about how you make people feel. The people that are living here, they feel secure. They feel like, hey, I'm in a nice place. So then that means they stay, And so, people don't think about that. Like, hey, I just want to get some units and put people in there. And I'm not, the least I can do to it, which that's me. But I mean, this is different because what you add value, the return you get, it's so much better. So that's one of the things that I really learned. And it was like, he adds value into all these apartments. And then when he cashes out, I'm like, they pay him for that, all of that, So I thought that was really great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's exactly what it's been about. I no longer have love. I mean, I do obviously still want that monthly paycheck, right? Cash flow, but I'm not in love with the whole idea of actually getting that. What I am passionate about now is something that doesn't get spoken about by any guru or any teacher out there, which is, again, the forced appreciation of the assets, the big paydays. Ask yourself that question: how much would 150,000 change your life? 250, 500,000, $1 million payday would change your life. What would you do with it, right? And so it's about me finding a bunch of those paydays. And that's what I figure actually will build generational wealth, not just the occasional $1,000, $2,000 paycheck in my mailbox, as they say.
Right. And I like what you're saying, because you're in a millennial landlord mindset. It's different from the old fogies, because we were raised in a mentality of what you own can't own you, but it's really bullshit because most 9 times out of 10, if you have all your money in a property, that's a liability, and if you can live it forward with what he's doing, forced appreciation, right? That's what you said.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, forced appreciation. That's a term that he has for it because we're like, oh, we're going to fix it and we're just going to get money out of it. Like, people don't understand that language when you go to banks. You have to come in and really talk to somebody with a different mindset and terminology. So that's where I'm saying you go into the new millennial world and they have different ways of explaining things. And as I've been learning and listening, a lot of people that I talked to, like yesterday, I talked with about 26 landlords and we were talking about what are we going to do? Are we going to sell? Are we going to hold? Because we're all in the same neighborhood right there in, 3rd and 5th Ward and Cashmere Gardens. So what are we going to do? Because the eviction process is changing. The laws are changing. You've got people busting in your doors, wanting to report you and do this and that. It seems like the law's not on the side for the landlord like it used to be.
Yeah, you're right.
So a lot of landlords are losing money in that aspect. And then you got people busting down doors saying, you need to fix this, you need to fix that. But you don't understand, when some of these people aren't paying rent, you're still having to pay a note or a mortgage or whatever. And most of the repairs, if you're not in the right mindset, these repairs are coming out of your pockets. I know a lot of landlords that are still working 8 to 5 jobs to maintain their personal living because this cash flow does not flow like everybody thinks it does. Right. So where you take out a lot of equity up front, right?
What do you mean, like before I buy or
no, like once you fix it. So explain to me your
process.
Yeah, explain to them what is the BRRR and then yours, your KISS.
So a lot of people are very they're very knowledgeable of the BRRR. Mm-hmm. That's the buy, renovate, rent, refinance, repeat. Mm-hmm. But I disagree with that concept. I think that puts you in a one-track mind, and it's a very basic residential kind of concept to actually like getting property. Mm-hmm. But nowhere does it say sell. Nowhere does it say scale. Nowhere does it say take some money out, or even like maybe sell this house and then buy a 4-plex and then sell that and buy an 8-plex, 16, 20. You know what I mean? Whatever applies, but obviously scalability. So I figured I'd come up with my own kind of methodology, which is KSSSS. So KISS, the KISS method, which is keep some, sell some, scale.
I like that.
And the reason behind that is because by keeping some, you're able to keep the cash flow and stuff like that. You're able to keep that monthly payment coming in. Not only that, but most importantly, you're able to depreciate those assets so that when you sell some, right, you're able to not pay any taxes on that.
Right.
I really think that that's where people in the BRR world get it wrong, because maybe they don't want to sell because they're scared of taxes. And they're right. It could be a very high expense. But if you know how to depreciate it and use deductions for the stuff that you're keeping, then you won't be paying any taxes. I haven't paid taxes in 4 or 5 years already.
Right.
So
well, I didn't pay taxes for a while. My ass got hit because I didn't know paperwork. Oh, yeah. I didn't know about depreciation. I mean, you know about depreciation, but they only tell you what they know. You have to go to the right CPA. It's like going to a doctor. You can't go to a foot doctor and check your eyes. You're not. It's just not going to be right. So you really need to find CPAs, accountants, and all that know real estate, because it's not all the same. It's not you're just going to cause a big ruckus in your finances. And I know that because we got hit like really hard. And when you're already in that, check this out. Okay. You owe so many millions this year, but you got so many millions credit for next year. Well, can I use that over here? No, you need to get yourself out this pickle and next year you're good. And I'm like, what the fuck? How in the hell does that work? So you tell me the IRS owes me, but next year? That's crazy. You really want to, you need to really put yourself in a position. If you want to float like we're floating, then you got to really, kind of mingle around, go to classes, educate yourself. I mean, there's people out there spending a lot of things on unnecessary things that aren't going to get them anywhere. And I really am promoting a lot to get with the right mentors, get with the right coaches, but make sure they're doing what they say they're doing. Because honestly, there's a lot of people that say they do things and they've only heard it or they've done one. And it's not a one and done here, because every person we talk to on a daily, the conversation is different. Everybody, like Boris said, the BRRR method right there. It can just keep you in a one track mind thing. This is what I'm going to do and this is all I'm going to do. But then you might have an opportunity for something else and you don't take that opportunity, even to keep something, because to keep something, you're not finding good properties that much lately. Right. Some of these old 30 units on a lot, you don't find them. Some people don't want them, but you just got to go with the, roll with the punches, find things, but really get mentored, get coached, and find somebody, find people that are in your niche, and if your friend don't fit in, don't take your friend. You want to become something else. And in order to scale in business, you got to scale yourself as well. You can't be the same person. You're going to have to learn how to chameleonize yourself and change.
Yeah, that's why I took his class. And
I
have to say,
I didn't know about it.
I didn't even mind investing in it, because I'm like, oh my, just the 2 days that I was there, I got so much valued. And one of the things that I love that he mentioned when I told him, like, hey, with the owner finance and things like that, like, which I still like, but he said, Andrea, you're going to have your money tied up, say what, a year, 2 years, say you're going to have to come up, with some money, right? Mm-hmm. 20,000, and then you're going to owner finance. But in those 25,000, if you were to invest it in like a fourplex or something, you would get a lot more in return in a year than you would, doing this. What are you going to make in a year? Like 15, 20 on this. And then over here, it's going to like triple that. So I'm like, man, I never thought about it that way. Just that alone, I'm like, dude, we're selling everything. And it's just taking a class, like I learned so much. Like I couldn't even sleep that same night, because I'm like, dang, I've been doing things. It's okay, right? That's why you learn. But yeah, you have to definitely. I always love hiring coaches, because they give you there quicker. And I mean, just by the value that I got this weekend, I'm like, man, like I'm ready to put it to work. So I'm excited about what's the outcome of that.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Actually, man, you guys fill up my heart. Thank you.
But it's true, though.
It's great. True. Thank you.
It is like, I got home and I was so excited, and I literally left the class. I had to go to a Starbucks to get because I'm like, there's no way I can go home. My kids are going to kind of like get me off like all my plans and thoughts. And I called one of this lady that, we were kind of been going back and forth, and I was like, man, you know what? I'm going to call her. I'm gonna get this fourplex under contract, and because I've been kind of going, and I was like, I really did the numbers, and what I learned, I'm like, okay, I could do this, I could do that, and I have more value to it. And the lady was like, yeah, Andrea, we've been going back and forth, but she was like, yeah, let's do it and stuff like that. So I'm like, dang, I'm excited now, because like just leaving his class motivated me to go call this lady, get all this, like, okay, I want to try it. I can't wait to put this to work. And, we'll see what happens in 3 months from now, when I sell it and see the value right there. I'm like, dang, I don't think I'll ever go back to single family again.
No.
Yeah. So,
you don't want to.
Yeah. So Andrea actually touched on something that I'm kind of, again, passionate about. I'm passionate about a lot of things. But what she mentioned about the returns versus the multiplication of your initial investment, right? So I'm not a big, people get shocked when I say this. I'm not a fan of owner financing. I'm not, because what happens is like, the seller is going to finance you. You're going to be, able to close quickly and fast and easy. But then who gives you that money to go rehab? Right. Nobody does. Right? It comes out of your pocket. And so what I found that the secret behind investments, really, this is not secret, is don't bring a lot of money to closing. Bring as little amount as you can to your closing, to the entire project, and then you can more easily multiply that investment over and over again. And so one of the reasons why I don't believe in cash flow is because I think it doesn't multiply your initial investment, right? Only a big payday can do that. Let's say that you are like my first deal, and you just bought that, and you buy it using $10,000 of your money to closing, and then you turn around and let's say you don't make as much as 250, but let's say you make 100,000. That's still 10 times what your initial investment was. The return on that, for the people that love returns, that's like what is it, like a 1,000%
1,000%.
return, which is kind of unheard of, right? People are normally happy with 8 to 12.
Right.
If you have a return in 1,000, it's kind of like unbelievable. Yeah, right. Show me. Yeah, they don't believe me.
Yeah.
But it's completely doable. That's literally how I've built up my career. And that's why the last little letter on the KISS method says scale, because you have to keep selling in order to kind of keep scaling up and having those bigger and bigger paydays.
Right.
So yeah, cash flow, no, not great. Not great to me. It's more about the appreciation. And then you also mentioned the owner financing, which it's not really that great. So it's not really that great, again, because it doesn't allow you to multiply your investment over and over. Yeah, I guess you can, and it's very popular in the residential world. It is kind of popular in the commercial world, actually, to owner finance, but it's I would say it's not in your best interest to do so. There are better financial products out there that allow you to borrow up to the purchase and the rehab money, so you can bring in just your down payment or just your closing costs.
Talk to us a little bit about, or tell us a little bit too about Sandmore. What do you do with at Sandmore?
So Sandmore Investments is kind of two companies built in one. On one side, as I said, we own and operate and manage our property, or my property. And then the other side, we have a brokerage. So we're able to provide properties just like the ones I've been talking about. 8 unit complexes, 4plexes if you want. Anything that's 4 units and up, anything that's small to medium-sized commercial, we're able to do so. And what makes us special is that we package it up using a hard money loan that allows you to borrow up to 100% of the cost of the project. So instead of me telling you, here's an 8plex for $400,000, you figure it out,
right? Which
is the traditional way of selling property. Instead, now we're saying, here's an 8plex, bring us 25,000 closing, and the deal is yours. Right. Much easier to digest, much easier to comprehend, and then you'll have the money for the purchase and the rehab, and obviously you can then structure your deal where you can multiply your investment over and over again.
And one thing I had to learn. I'm sorry, you got a question?
Yes. Somebody asked, can you please share the class you mentioned?
Okay. Yeah, sure. So my class is kind of named the Church of Forced Appreciation, because as you can already tell just from the few minutes that I've been here, I've probably said forced appreciation like a bunch of times. So we call it the church. I'm always preaching about it.
May the force be with you.
And so, yeah, that's actually pretty good. Right. And so, so it's a class that's 7 classes long. So of course, it's 7 classes long. In 3 of them, we're going to meet face to face, and we're going to go over kind of like what Andrea said, the basics of it, basic strategy, basic theology about how to structure commercial deals, the difference between residential and commercial. On class 2, we look at your financial products for financing multifamily and commercial. On class 3, I put everybody on a bus or an SUV, and I kind of show them for about 4 hours deals around the Houston area that I've done, where we got the lead from, how we structured it, how much money we made, what the lessons learned were. And so, again, it adds value, and it brings everything that you learned in the first 2 classes together, because then you say, oh, that's the property he was talking about. Classes 4 and 5 focus on the contract itself, but it's actually one of my favorite classes because it allows me to talk about the terminology of commercial strategy and the mentality behind a contract. Contract is just not just a contract. It actually is like a mental tool that you give somebody to kind of ponder about, right?
Right.
And classes 6 and 7, we go over live deals, and we start analyzing and putting finally everything together so you can actually start practicing, get your mind on a track to actually start analyzing deals so that you can know exactly what a good deal looks like and what a bad deal looks like.
I'm already doing
That's
that.
awesome.
We're not even in class 7 yet. But that's good. And I have to say, guys, I went to his class, and I don't see residential the same anymore. And and that was one of the things that kind of left me, like, literally, the whole time I'm like, dang, why did I never?
Right.
It's okay, right? You don't know what you don't know, but it's like you put in the same energy and sweat and you do it in something just different, you're going to get a higher return. And it was just like, it just things. I was just telling, hey, this, that. And I learned, I'm like, oh, I should have done it this way, or I should have done it that way. And, you know, and like you said, I was doing that. I was putting the rehab money and, you know, doing this. And then I'm like, dude, I'm out probably 50,000. And then the return, it's not even there, you know, but it's just like, hey, I'll make extra, but you shouldn't, the mentality is different. So I looked at numbers very different, and that's what I learned. And that was really good.
Yeah. So just to add a little bit of what she said. So the returns are not, you know, great. If let's say you were able to save up to $50,000, right? It's hard nowadays to even do that. If you have a job, you have a family, it's really hard to actually save up to 50,000. But let's say you do that, and you invest it in a property that's making you $200, $400 a month. Ask yourself, are you really making any wealth? Are you building anything, or are you just getting $400 a month that you may not be able to get in the future because the AC breaks down? You may not have a tenant. That so many things can happen in real estate, so you can't really count on that. It's always like this, right? It's always up and down. And so the returns, that would be $400 a month. It would be probably around a 10% return per year, but that's not really making income. That's why I say that cash flow is really a wealth maintainer, and forced appreciation is a wealth generator. And you got to kind of think about it that way. If you want to maintain the current level of wealth that you have, which probably for 99.9% of the people watching is not true. You want to actually grow your wealth. And so what I would recommend is focus on the appreciation of properties, which is easier done in commercial real estate.
Right. And go ahead.
No, I was just going to just say that. And one of the things that he mentioned too, he's like, if people that I've talked to, and I know they sit down and do the numbers, like they're thinking, hey, I'm cash flowing, I'm killing it. And then they realize as they start making, you know, taxing everything out, the expenses, that they're negative. So I'm like, and they're thinking they're cash flowing because the thought of it sounds good and it feels good. But when you're doing the numbers, it's like, damn, I'm not even cash flowing. I'm over here thinking.
Yeah, I think a lot of it what happens a lot is people get into their ego. Well, I got this house, I got that house, and this is where ghetto starts. And I got. But when you realize you got because it got you. And where I'm saying that is, I just did a small video on my Facebook page where I was talking about a rental property. Had it for a long time, rented it for almost nothing. Bought this property in Lindale for about $46,000. In the days of cotton. But anyway, you know, you don't find those anymore, you know. So right now the property has a value of about a 400. Oh, let's just say 400. So basically I could cash that out at 70% if I put the renter in there. So that's where, if I bought it years ago, I'm rehabbing it now because the bad renter got out. I'm renting it to somebody else that can cover a future note that I create, because that's what people think, that 500, I'll just rent it for $500 and go get it refinanced. It's not going to work. You have to be at the rental market. And now I'm going to go out and refi it. I'm not selling it. I'm actually refining it, because I learned later on in life that you don't pay taxes on a loan. So, you know, and that's what really helped me, because I was always I was like, what do you call it? Like a needle in a haystack. It just kept rolling and rolling and rolling. And I just kept getting more and more and more capital gains and not buying the right type of property. Cause you can use a 1031 exchange and not use it correctly, and you owe more. And that's what I'm getting out of right now. So it's not easy. So that's why I tell people, if you can get with people that can teach you early on, learn it, because we learned it we're learning it now. And I've been doing this for 32 damn years, you know, and then halfway in between there in 2012, I learned the wholesale game, and now I'm learning everything else, you know. And so if you really want to slide through this or scale through it, then you really got to make sure that you are connecting yourself with people who are like-minded, you know, I'm not going to, whatever. I talk a lot of shit, but
say it.
Yeah,
I like it because it's actually very positive, you know. it sounds shocking to a lot of people that say, oh, what she's telling me that I shouldn't buy as much property as I can, that I got. But there is a giant point to what she's making, which is, I think we as a species, humans, have fallen in love with the ownership of stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why you see viral videos of people going, oh, I have 4,000 units, 5,000 units, 10,000 units. But when you really look at it, they own about 2% of every deal.
There you go.
And they have absolutely no control over it.
Ouch.
And so I would rather own a fully paid off 20-unit apartment complex than a 100-unit apartment complex that's fully levered up to 85%, maybe 90% LTV, right? That you're barely like struggling, but you swear you're killing it because you have 100 units.
No.
So just much like returns don't really generate wealth. The maximum ownership of your units will not generally translate to wealth. You kind of, again, have to keep on selling some. And so don't fall in love with the notion of like, I have to keep everything because my neighbor has 20 units and I only have 10. That doesn't matter. You know, it's not a race. Nobody's keeping score. Nobody really cares, to be honest. And so what really it does matter is what you, like the bacon that you bring home at the end of the day, right? The financial security that these units are going to give you. And I can guarantee you that the more you own of a certain property, the more secure that cash flow is going to be. And again, if you've mastered like how to appreciate a property, then you're going to multiply what that property could be worth.
Right. Thank you. I just say like whatever. It comes out all kinds of ways. But you have to understand, some people, and this is one thing a lot of people tell me, you know, do you teach? I would lie to you to say if I could teach you something and mentor you in a state, because I do so many things that I'm like a little bobblehead. I'm all over the place. Somebody has to be very structured in their mind to be able to actually take an adult. If it's hard to teach a kid how to potty, you know, you got to take all the shit an adult has and just, you know, make them rethink, you know, to teach somebody. I ain't got the patience. Yeah, I ain't got the patience. But I know there's people like Boris, and there's other people out there that know how to bring the message across, you know. And me is like, it's a lot. I'm a tired landlord. Yeah, I'm a tired landlord. What? Yeah, because I'm assuming, and this is the problem, I'm assuming that you're understanding me because I'm putting you in a boat to float with me that I've only been in. You know what I'm saying? So I think you're already where I'm at, and you're not. So I always tell people, you know, go talk to somebody before you come and talk to me, because you're going to get lost with me. Because I mean, my experiences have been freaking nuts, you know?
They're going to start doing body contouring, real estate. They're going to start selling, what's it called? What is that? The shake stuff?
No, the Herbalife.
I thought that's why I'm here, so I can pitch you all my Herbalife. I'm kidding.
That is funny. They're going to get all these hustles.
Yeah. So what she's talking about is how I got into real estate, right? So basically, I did a lot of multi-level marketing. We were talking about EXP, how that's kind of like an MLM. You know, everybody gets paid, you know, in a lineage. So basically, you know, I had to stay home. I was a mom, 4 kids, and a whole bunch of nieces and nephews that were always, you know, going to the house or whatever. So I always had a van. Since I was 18, I had a van. I always had kids around me. So my life was really at home. And if I was at home, my kids were in the car and I was out chasing rents. So I had to still have that hustle. So my hustle was put your ass in the back, get a little TV, you know, whatever. And I'm going to go do what I got to do. And in between, I'm like, okay, I'll tell my husband, hey, I'm going to go collect rent. Okay. But I had to go deliver an Herbalife, you know, or whatever.
Just collecting rent.
Yeah. Just
Herbalife.
Yeah. Just trying to make something. Yeah. So just trying to make something. So then, okay, after doing all these things, you know, I've had all kinds of businesses and all these things. I told my husband, I said, hey, I came across a guy that, you know, I was really fond of listening to them, and this other female, listening to them and watching them. I said, man, I want to take his class. I really think it would help me learn something. He goes, shit, another multi-level. Fuck no. I was like, I was like, well, the hell with it. So as a woman that with an entrepreneur and a hustle mentality, you know how to do what? I mean, we're working at the hardware store. Mind you, I had a restaurant, I sold it, and then I went to the hardware store with my husband, and I'm like, damn, okay, so I have to be here. I drop off my kids, go to the store, stay there during lunchtime, and then, then after that, leave, go pick up the kids. So what can I do between then? I said, man, there's a whole bunch of hungry men, thirsty, whatever, all at the store, right? So I got up extra early. Hell yeah, sell tacos. So what I did is I started making tacos. I went and I bought me a crock pot, and I had them all warm in there. And then I was just selling tacos and came up with my little money to do it on my own. So it was me and my daughter-in-law. We were, they were like, well, we could do a 2 for y'all can both come. I'm like, great. So I was like, we got to do this. Like, we have a plan. We got to do this. And so that's how it all started.
So you're saying that if we buy your Herbalife, you'll give us free tacos?
Man, you talk about those tacos all the time, and I want to taste.
It's making me hungry. Yeah.
No, because she makes them sound so good. She's like, I mean, these little taquitos, and I'm just picturing in my head, like,
what are tacos taste
like?
No, actually, they were pretty good though, because the lady from Taco House, there's a real popular taco house, Laredo Taco House, and I asked the mom years ago when she used to work on the one on Irvington, if she would teach me how to make her carne guisada, and she did. And so I took that to my restaurant, and it was like I was just I only had to open from 7 to 3. Yeah, I only had to work from 7 to 3 because it was that once that was gone, that's all that was selling. So it was like my niche, and it was crazy. So one day I'll invite y'all and I'll make y'all some carne guisada. I'll do it. I still like to cook, so it's cool.
For everybody liking and commenting on this, though.
Hey, she did mention she'll give you tacos if you guys
I'll give you taco on Tuesday. No, but one of the things, guys, is that you have to find your hustle. There's something out there. You might have old shit in the closet, have a garage sale, and I'm telling you, invest in yourself.
The tip, she's like, man, you have people doing garage sales.
I don't give a damn. Do something. Do something.
Yeah, exactly. I completely agree with that. Yeah. And I think for some folks, that hustle mentality or like training yourself to have that hustle mentality goes a long way. Mm-hmm. I started, at 7. I was kind of blessed with that mentality from the get-go. I was like, let me deliver food for the rich kids that in my school. It was in Colombia, and I was delivering their lunch because we were at the bottom of the hill and the lunchroom was at the top of it. So I had to go up and down. And that's how I was like, oh man, I want to get my own stuff. I had that mentality. And that hasn't stopped.
Yeah.
And even when you get to the bigger stuff like real estate, it applies. Like that hustle mentality will, have you make offers on deals, get some of the top deals. And so, yeah, absolutely. That's, I think, one of the best things, by the way, you can pass your kids is the ability to have that mindset, that the go-getter mentality. Is, I think, that's the best Christmas present that you could ever get. It's really the gift that keeps on giving. So teaching your kids early, financial education and mindset is absolutely necessary.
Yes, it is. Mm-hmm. It really is. And, sometimes when you have so much stuff, I had my body sculpting machine, right? I'm going to share this with you guys. It's crazy. Because sometimes you want to do something so bad that's really not made for you anymore. And my time is valuable. And I don't value my time like I really, really should sometimes. I'm like, so what am I going to do? Go do all this stuff, be there all day, whatever. But I had my little machine. And so my daughter said that I was carrying that machine like the pursuit of happiness, holding on to that machine. Yeah. So actually, just recently, mind you, I had that business in like 11. And just recently, I sold one of the first machines that I had. Caroline went in there. She's like, we need to get rid of this shit. I'm like, oh my God, getting rid of that machine was so crazy because I was like, but what if I ever do this again? Right? But when she sold it, I focused on what I had to get. Sometimes you don't understand that, sometimes wearing the big baggy pants is what might keep your ass fat, because you need to offload on the things that are unnecessary, and you hold on to things. And it's just like property. Sometimes you have to offload those things that aren't really bringing you what you need. They're just keeping you one place or really bringing you down. If you are paying to keep a property operating, you're not doing something right. You're just not doing it right, period. And there's a lot of people that are doing that. And that's when it goes into the ego mindset. I got this, that. And sometimes selling, it doesn't show failure because at the end of the day, you got rid of something you didn't need. You already won. You already won. That's just how I feel.
That's how I feel about my property over there.
Which one?
The one I told you in Humble. The one, the scary looking one, the haunted one.
Oh my God.
I know. After talking to Boris, I'm like, dang, I guess I can get rid of it.
Oh God. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Everybody's been going through that one with their like
I was
Andrea.
get rid of it. Get rid of it. I
Andrea.
was like, no, only if I can do this.
Yeah.
I'm like,
You can't fall in love with your projects that your end goal is to sell. It's really not. If your money is there and you have money there, capture it now, because there's a lot of people on that cash flow crap. After you pay your taxes and everything, let's just say, at the end of the month, when if you collected 18,000 and you stayed with 4,000, I could have went and had a regular job and not dealt with crap.
Well, and that's one of the things you told me at the very beginning. You're like,
Yeah.
Andrea, this cash flow stuff is not even that great.
No, it's not.
It's very hard to achieve. Like
Mhm.
I think honestly that whole cash flow can lead to riches has been passed down to us by folks way richer than us, or billionaires probably.
Yeah.
They sell us the returns and they sell us the cash flow, and we kind of, if you have $100 in your bank account, 8% per year is not going to do shit to you.
Mhm.
It's nothing. If you have
No.
1,000, same thing. If you have 10,000, same thing.
Mhm.
That's only what, $800.
Yeah.
So yeah, it doesn't really do anything. So it's like returns and cash flow only really matter later on once you've actually reached the financial level that you want to be in.
Right.
The returns you're getting.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
return. Yeah, because nobody wants to give $100 to get back 50.
I've
So
been
you
doing
have to
that
look
all
at it.
this all
Yeah.
this year. I've been doing that, but that's okay. It's all right.
No, but you really, I really like the way, Boris and your team and your whole little clique and your friends, all the broskies, the way y'all are.
Shout out
The
to
way they
Bros.
are.
broskies.
Shout out to the broskies. No, but seriously, the way they are, I've been around them and I see them and they're very tight and niche, and that's important. That's important that you have a solid team. And there's a lot of people out there biting each other's necks off, and I really wish y'all kind of like grind down them teeth, because at the end of the day, you need people to back you up. If you don't, you're swimming in an ocean alone.
Mhm. Yeah.
You're swimming in that whole ocean alone and no one there to save you. And if you have the right people and you've built the right reputation with those people, you're safe. That's how I feel.
And don't be afraid to hire a mentor. I mean,
Yeah, don't.
even if he's a good friend of mine, I'm like, dude, I'm gonna hire him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You better
Yeah.
sell them purses, girls.
I know, right? Exactly. Sell all the purses.
You better sell them purses and get with no money in it.
Mhm.
Hell no. I'm always talking shit. I tell you, I always talk shit. It's okay.
Yeah, but the value you get in return, I mean, I feel like I already got my money
Yeah.
back, from what I've
Mhm.
learned. So
Mhm.
don't waste time. Like, don't try to no, I'm gonna do it next year. No,
Mhm.
I did that too. I'm like, damn, I should.
Yeah.
He told me a long time ago, you should take my class. I'm like, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, whatever. You're trying to
I
make
know,
money.
whatever. Right. You're trying to take my money. And then I'm like, yeah, after a while, I was like, yeah, I gotta take his class.
Yeah. And you know what's really funny is, and you said, even though he's a friend and I'll pay it, because a lot of people will not value you when they're your friend, because you are so open and available to them that they devalue your worth,
Right.
and they'll go pay somebody else and then come back to you and ask you all the damn questions. And I'm like, what? And like, what happened? They didn't teach you, and that's what happens. But sometimes the closest people to you that know, listen,
Mhm.
listen, you cannot, devalue somebody just because they give you so much for free,
Right.
Right.
Absolutely.
if that made sense.
Sure.
I got it in my head.
Hey, that's just her venting.
That's me venting. No,
Hey,
it's
she's
not.
talking. No, I'm just
No, not you. What are you saying?
No, I'm not talking about.
Oh, I'm like,
I was talking about-
no. I'm saying
No.
other people, because I have a friend that I referred her to
Yeah, I
somebody,
remember
and
that's
it
what I
was
was talking about.
yeah. Okay, there you go. Yeah, and I referred her to somebody, and she went and paid like 5 times more, and then comes and then asks me everything. I'm like, why are you asking me? I referred you over there, and you go over there, so you already don't take my opinion. So,
Mhm.
our time is valuable. Everybody's time is valuable. If you're doing something that I don't know, and I ask you and you tell me, I appreciate everything. I'm the type of person that puts everything you give me and every comment and everything on a shelf, and I save it. I don't disregard anybody's opinions. I do look at it, weigh it out, but I don't I don't disregard anything. I listen, because sometimes we don't know how we act. You know what I'm saying? They don't catch it. And so we have to slow down and just, maybe God sends angels in a certain way. And I'm like, oh, okay, no, you have to refocus. Yeah. So
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to tie it all in, you don't be afraid to ask questions. Like, I'm always try to be as available as I can to everybody that wants to ask me like financial questions or advice. You know what I mean? I try to add value to everyone that I see, because it's like that's what I probably would have wanted for somebody back then when I started, right? From somebody, I actually made the mistake of not having a mentor when I started, but I say it in quotes because I actually, that did teach me a lot, and that took me out of the mentality of like everybody just regurgitating the same information over and over again. Like cash flow and returns and all this other stuff. And so it allowed me to kind of see things for myself. But still, I would still recommend getting a mentor, or at least somebody that you can identify with. There's lots of great mentors out there. There is no shame in asking for help. If you're completely surrounded by folks who just don't know and just talk about bullshit all the time, like get yourself somebody, or reach out to somebody that you kind of model and you kind of look up to, right? Chances are that person will be very complimented that you're actually reaching out and, share all their information with you.
Yeah. And another thing is, like I've tried to always reach out to certain people, like, in the mentoring stage, but you got to talk to somebody that is grounded. You know what I'm saying?
You need to,
somebody
I feel
that's
like
grounded.
if you would, what you have already, definitely can like triple it for you.
Yeah, somebody that's grounded. And I tell you this in this aspect because I've been to many people, and the first thing is like, oh, and I'm like, oh my God, I need a nerve pill. Like, shit, I can't do that. I can't. Sometimes, you need somebody that's grounded. I got so much going on at home with kids running around, and I'm just already all scrupled, eyebrows going everywhere.
That is funny because they do some of. I've been to those, and they started like that.
Yeah, and I'm like, bro, like no, you're getting after me, like shit. Feeling like a battered woman over here. Teach. Go to somebody, listen to their conversation, how they sit, if they're grounded, if they're too much. Weigh them out. Kind of source your people, because I'm not for everybody, and not everybody is for me, right? And so, but you really want to find somebody that's grounded. And I will tell you one thing: when you approach somebody, and I used to be like, blah, 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 blah. I know damn well half them people didn't get shit out of me, because but now you come up to me, I'm like, because now I'm really learning the real way, the way things really work in any kind of damn business, in the retail chain. I can't expect somebody in real estate to understand what this retail world is. It is a damn monster. The logistics of this or that. Everybody has their own niche. But, when I finally went to a person in the in the retail world, just the way he explained it to me was just like, I heard it. Versus everybody that was trying to just pour it on me.
That's exactly
like throw information at you.
Throw it, catch it.
Well, you know what? That is exactly how I felt when I went there. Like I learned it. It was just like aha. And I know there's been a lot of times, we've discussed it, we've talked about it. I've talked about it with other people, but it never really like clicked. The way he explained it to me, I was like,
another thing, you turn your damn phone off in class.
Yeah, I did. I wasn't even on my phone.
No, she wasn't. She was paying attention.
I was paying attention to every word he was saying, and I was going through my notes. I'm like, okay, this, and then whatever I didn't understand, I want to make sure he clarified it.
She asked a bunch of questions. She's the one that asked the most questions, which actually a teacher does not mind.
Yeah,
a lot of people think, oh, maybe I should just shut up.
Andre's gonna ask a bunch of questions.
But really, the greatest compliment to a teacher is for you to ask questions. Like, I love it. Yeah, I hate it when I'm giving a speech or even teaching a class, and then I'm like, do you guys have any questions? And crickets.
Right.
Like, I'm not that great of a teacher, like I tend to go off on a tangent and stuff like that. So how I know that people are paying attention is that they ask questions. You paid for that.
Yeah.
You paid for that time. You should get the most amount of value for it.
Yeah, and I was in the front seat just like going through like, okay, this, and then he's like, does anybody else have any questions?
All right, hold on.
Hold on, Andrea.
Hold on.
They're like, we're writing down all of Andrea's questions.
I know, it was so funny. I'm like, damn, I forgot about the people in the back.
Hey, but I would want to be in the classroom with that one because I probably wouldn't ask a lot of questions that I should because I'm trying to just keep up with what's in front of me.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
So yeah, so you gotta appreciate it, Andrea. So if anybody's having a mentorship class, make sure you invite Andrea.
Right, I'll ask questions.
Yeah.
Well, I want to make sure, like he said, you pay for it.
Yeah.
You want to grab everything.
You
Like
do.
if there was one thing I didn't understand, I was like, hey, and I even wrote it down. I'm like, hold on, I wrote it down here. Was that called segregation stuff? But
Yeah.
I learned now. I
Mhm.
know what it means. And
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, it's because I was just kind of going down everything. Okay, I know
Right.
this. Okay, that I wasn't sure, so I asked them.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
felt very good after. Like I
Yeah.
couldn't sleep, but
And honestly, there is no bad mentor, because like I said, there's you have to know what niche you're in. You know, if you want to be, following, the rapper mentor, well then that's your niche. But if you really want to go into this and be taken seriously, you really have to slow your roll. You got to slow your roll. You got to come in because now you're talking to bankers.
Mhm.
People that aren't used to like my little ghetto mentality, what I'm saying? Like, I come from the roughs, but the thing is that you got to change it up. You got to change it up, and you have to ask the questions. But when you're with the mentor, make sure you are, getting all the information you can, and that's why you have to source your person to know that you're going to feel comfortable to ask the question, and are they just pouring a bucket of information on you, or are they really there to teach you?
Yeah. Big
Yeah.
difference there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I felt like I was. Yeah, it was not just information. You're like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
it was good. You
No, I
guys should
saw her
take-
little eyes in the morning. She's like, I went to class, I learned. And I'm like, oh,
Like a little kid.
a little kid. I wanted to bring her her lunchbox.
Well, because I got excited because
Yeah.
it's
Cool.
like you learn, you
Yeah.
leave, you're like, man, and it's a lot because now like I feel like I have a plan.
Yeah.
you
The
know?
worst thing that we can do, any 3-4 of us in this room right now, is go to an event or to a training and then you hear the same shit. We are so damn busy. And you really put your faith in, I'm going to get some kind of something, and it's the same shit.
Mhm.
And you're just like, I heard this last year, bro. Like, what are you bringing different, right?
Right.
And I'm going to tell you something. If you're really doing freaking real estate, everything changes every damn year.
Oh yeah,
Not
every month,
one conversation is
every
the
3
same.
months.
Yes,
I mean,
it changes.
Mhm.
So if the conversation is the same, something's not changing for that person that's mentoring you either. So that's why some people just teach one thing to newbies, but they need to present that to newbies because
Mhm.
when you get old fogies like me, I get pissed because I could have been at home on my recliner, So yeah, like I could have just been sitting on my husband's recliner and just watching TV.
So Boris, if people want to take your class, what's the details on that? Because I'm sure a lot of people are going to ask questions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, reach out to me, send me an email. I'm at boris@sanmore.com. That's SANMORE.com. And BORIS, right?
Mhm.
And so boris@sanmore.com. Reach out to me, email me, ask me, to send you information on the class. I try to do them 3 to 4 times a year. I think this is probably Andrea's class is the last class that I'll do for 2022.
Yeah, I'm glad I got it. I got it.
Next year, obviously, I want to take advantage of the fact that everybody comes in with a brand new mentality,
Mhm.
and so we're gonna try to get started as in early January, so that we can start your year fresh with kind of a new mindset and a new way forward.
New me, new year.
There
you
We're gonna
go.
get the new
There
me,
you
new
go.
year, folks.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I started mine early.
Yeah, and always watch out. Are you going to have any meetups this month or this? before the year
On
end?
Thursday I have a meetup
Mhm.
with Houston Millennials. I don't think I'm going to speak for too long, but I might, it's like an investor kind of meetup
Mhm.
with Houston Millennials.
Mhm.
So that's pretty cool.
Mhm.
Next month, I think I do have a couple of events coming up.
Mhm.
Oh, and my meetup every first Thursday of every month that we do with the good folks at Disrupt Equity,
Mhm.
which they're very good syndicators, one of the best companies to work for in Houston. And so, yeah, we do it alongside them, and we have a bunch of investors come out. It's completely free. Usually you'll have one or two speakers. Sometimes I'll speak. And then I love to answer questions. I love to talk to people one-on-one rather than talk to a big group of people. And so, yeah, please come up to me, ask me anything. Ask me advice on what to do, how to move forward. If you want to buy your first property, ask me, how do I get started? If you have a group of 10 properties, 10 houses, ask me, which I'm probably going to tell you, sell them all. So don't be surprised if I'm like sell them all, let's graduate to commercial.
Yeah.
But come with an open mind and be ready to learn, and have a good time there.
Yeah. So we'll see you there. You going? I'll go.
When, Thursday?
Yeah.
The first Thursday. Yeah, I
First
think this
Thursday.
next one is like October 6th or something like that.
Yeah. So anyway, I'll see y'all there.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah.
George.
I'm like, yeah. I don't know.
I gotta ask my husband.
Yeah. I'll make sure to give my husband Tylenol that night. See ya. Now this one I'm gonna try to take him. I'm gonna try to make him go. Yeah, like golly. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, we want to thank you for giving us your time, and I want to thank Boris for giving us his time, sharing all the information he shared. I really hope y'all picked up information y'all needed, y'all could use in the future to move forward in your future, and whatever you're doing, do it best.
Thank you so much for having me. Pleasure.
All right.
Pleasure being here.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right.
See ya.